Well, good morning, YouTube. How's everybody doing out there? Dave in Kentucky, here with some coffee. Going to get a shave in. Going to get back to another vintage razor to highlight, but first a soap that's getting to be almost vintage. I'll probably pronounce it wrong. Italian soap, Coloniali. It's a mango oil type soap. It's just a wonderful scent. It's not heavy on a sweet citrus or anything, and it's just hard for me to describe. I don't think I've been able to even find any descriptions. A lot of things I was reading back in 2009, people were saying it was a love or hate it. I love it. That puck's probably getting small, and fortunately I have a chunk of a backup, not a whole one. So, because it's impossible to find anymore. Anyway, we're going to follow it up with some Terre aftershave, and then some of the EDT Terre as well. And probably butchering the pronunciation of those also. Going to whip things up with a Graydog. It's got a brown Maggard synthetic knot in it, and this is a quilt brush that he made for me. And the razor. Let me go ahead and load the soap here first. Now let's go ahead and highlight it. It's in you can see the leather chipping off of the case a little bit, and it's wood, but it must be like a balsam wood or something, balsa wood. It's pretty light. Latch still works on it. It says the gem. That's just the packaging. It's also come in a traveler case and other things. This one dates back to 1886 or 1887. I think it's 1887. You'd have to look back. I have a video where I've used it before in my library. It's a very decorative one. Let's pull it out. As you can see, I have a 3D printed adapter for the gem modern blades, so I'm not using the wedge one. There are no blade stops for it. It has the adjustable type. I should look here. I don't always use the extension handle for this, but it screws in to have a longer handle. And this is also, if you see on the end, a little hole there, that's the thing to be able to put that on and turn those screws in and out to adjust it for the wedge as it wears to get it where you need it to shave. So we won't need that. We'll set that aside over here. But just a very decorative, and as you can see here, it has the two holes cut out that are stars. It is a star razor. It states it right on it, Star Safety Razor. And it has the star handle. Interesting story how I came across this one. I've only seen a couple others like this. Anyway, so let me go ahead and get the lathering here. Make some progress. I'll be honest, I wasn't even really feeling like doing a video today, but I'm trying to get myself back into doing one regularly at least. I'm trying to get it to every week instead of every 2 weeks. Didn't sleep well last night, so we'll see if this one gets off the cutting room floor and gets posted. This is, when I looked at the ingredient list I pulled up online, it doesn't show any tallow in it, so vegan soap, different oils and things in it. Get a decent lather. It's a nice lather, slick enough. Not on par with current artisan soaps, but it's a nice soap, and I just love the scent of it. Alright, let me wet the face a little. Get some of this proto lather. And clean it up so we don't drop it. And want to break that terracotta bowl. Let's just set that up here. All right. So, a story on the razor. There's another gentleman on the forum at the time, and apparently he was into vintage razors, had a large collection. I don't know how I came across them. I don't know how others come across theirs. Apparently, I don't do Facebook, but he was doing Facebook Marketplace, and he knew I enjoyed vintage as well. And he messaged me and said, "Hey, there's this razor available. It's about 2 hours north of you. I can't talk them into selling it to me and mailing it. If you're interested and you want to check it up," and he gave me the link. I was like, "Oh, that's how he gets these. He's on Facebook Marketplace." And I still don't use that to find any. This has a bit of menthol in it too, which is kind of nice. So let's get to shaving with this. Anyway, so I get in touch with the individual, and you know, the other time I saw one of these, it went for north of $200. And I'll just tell you up front, I only paid like 40, I think 43 is what they had it listed for, and I didn't quibble on it. I was happy to pay that for it. Just a very decorative lather catcher. I think I stated this in the other video that when I got it, I had someone say, "Oh, that I think you have a mismatch set there because it says gem. It's a gem razor." And it's like, well, no, it says it right on it, Star Safety Razor. And then found the old ad from 1887 where it has this actual case in it, and it says the gem, and then they have the Traveler, and I think one or two others actually that were available then. Pretty sure you can hear the audio feedback. It does that buttering the toast sound, which I enjoy. Second use on a gem, PTFE, whatever that acronym is. Stainless steel razor blade. Used it yesterday in a for the first time in a Star Crew Steel razor. As I've been pulling, it's on a modern kick lately, but I've been pulling out of my display some of my vintage collection. I've been using and running through them again. And for you viewers that like the vintage stuff, I'm going to try to at least balance it. You know, I know I had some moderns recently because I picked up the Athena. But I didn't want people to think I was done using my vintage. As my skin is getting older and thinner, kind of leaning towards less aggressive razors. I still use aggressives. I use anything I have on display in my case, I will use. I don't know if you can pick up the gap on that thing. And again, there's nothing protecting it if you look at it. There's no blade stops. This is before they started installing those on the razor. But anyway, old skin's not as favorable to some of these, even though I still use them. Something I find I always do is rinse more frequent than I need to. I mean, the whole idea of the lather catcher was to catch the lather, right? Should be able to get through a whole pass as it gathers that lather, but I tend to rinse it. So that's more not out of necessity as much as it's habit, and it helps keep the soap from having a film build up on it. Rinsing it more often doesn't give it time to dry on the metal. So not a bad thing. But I find myself thinking about that and thinking, why are you rinsing it, Dave? Hope you all are doing well and having good shaves. What are some of the things you're using? What was your setup today? Got a nice shave. It's a typical spot right on my jawline here. Stuff can be a little stubborn. Didn't know if I was going to do against the grain there, but it's actually quite comfortable with this razor. Nice. Maybe not so much that razor as much it is the blade. Being a stiffer gem rigid blade, it does better going against the grain. Man, that was a nice shave. I need to pull that one out more often. That's a problem with so many razors. You don't get to them all and you forget what a nice shaver they are. And there you go, from 1887, so what, 146, no, 136 years old. Still working as intended with modern blades. Just a beautiful piece of art, really, from back then. Let me go ahead and take this out and clean it. I'll show you. So you basically just pop that down. It's a little stiff. Pull that out. You can see how it needs to be cleaned up back there. So I got this 3D printed adapter for it. Some of the older razors, you don't really need to use the adapter, but there are some like this that if it doesn't have that wedge shape, it's not going to hold it in place. Took that off so you'll be able to see what the underneath looks like. So very plain there, but very decorative elsewhere. And again, it has the screws here instead of the spring mechanism that they went to later. And then you have the piece that goes up and holds the blade in place if you have a wedge blade. And I do have, I don't have it in the case because I had some I was sending off to somebody. It was going to hone a few of the wedge blades for me. They did not come back sharp enough for me to be able to use them. So maybe someone else could, but it wasn't cutting. And they told me, they said they're very hard to hone and get them done properly. And you only have that little piece of the blade versus if you had the entire straight razor blade and you were honing it. So getting it correct, I've been told, is difficult. Let's get that aftershave put back. And we'll hit it with the Terre. Stuff gets dusty when it's just sitting on the shelf. All right, there you go. Where are we at? 18 and a half minutes, almost 19. All right, well, hope everybody's doing well out there. Thanks for joining me with the shave. Be kind, be safe, and we'll see you next week if we're around. Take care.